Welcome to the 13th International. We're live in Germany and in North Carolina, in the middle of nowhere. Where are you in North Carolina?
In the middle of nowhere?
Fucking sucks.
No, it's
Where are you in
great.
Germany?
I'm in Frankfurt,
Stop being so
Germany.
negative.
Yeah, don't be so negative. Everywhere the grass is always green on the other side. I mean, come on. I'm here in Frankfurt, Germany. I like it here. A lot of people complain. It looks like
I,
a real big city on the outside. It has really big skyscrapers, but there's about 500,000, 600,000 people that live here. In the day when it's 9 to 5, there's about 1 million people here, but people just come here to work in those really big buildings and then they go away.
we live in a
There's
city.
also a river. That's pretty cool. There's a river here. Pretty big river. That's
We
nice.
have like 30,000 tops, so 500,000 sounds huge.
There's like 30,000 in town and 150,000 in the outside of town.
I don't-
Everybody lives outside of town.
There's
Holy
no way
shit.
there's 150,000.
150,000. Are you including Greensboro or what?
I don't
No,
know.
that's Guilford. If we added
It's
Guilford,
30,000 in county. Anyway, it's like 3 times as many people live in the country.
I could
as live
see
in-
that. I could
live
see
in
that.
town.
Well, that's because
Okay,
like
so
the
wait a
city
minute.
limits.
We got to introduce the cat. So, hey cat, what's your name?
The cat doesn't have a name.
Okay, hey cat.
Bring the keyboard over. Bring the keyboard.
North Carolina cat. What's going on? You know.
It just sort of lifted up onto the table because there's Chinese food on it, and then got on me.
All right, great. So, is there a lot of Bitcoin in Franklinville?
No. There's not Bitcoin anywhere in North Carolina, really, unless you go to a big city like Raleigh or Charlotte. I don't even think Greensboro has much activity. Greensboro.
It's 142,000 people, or 143 just about, in Randolph County. So if 30,000 live in Asheboro, then you've got 110,000 living in the county. So everyone lives in the country.
Okay, that sounds good.
So how many people did you say live in Frankfurt?
About 600,000.
Okay.
Okay, you still.
So that's like 6 Randolph counties.
Yeah, you're in about 6 Randolph counties slammed into one city.
So you
That's
guys
a lot.
have space. So everybody has a yard, and there's a lot of space between the towns and all that shit. And here it's not like that. You like go into the quote country, where the towns are pretty close to each other, and it takes a while to get out into the country. Although what is cool about Frankfurt, if you go about, I don't know, about 45 minutes with the train, the commuter train, or you go by car about 45 minutes, there's a small mountain range nearby. So that's pretty cool. So if you do want to go out in the quote country, you can go over to the mountains and walk around and do stuff there. So that's pretty
When
cool.
you go down, I can't remember exactly how it works, but like towards the Rhine River and the big valley there, and where the vineyards are, there's not a lot down there. It seems like pretty empty.
Right. So in the Rhine Valley, so I'm near the Main, which connects to the Rhine, and it even rhymes. And in the Rhine Valley, there's a lot of wine that's really good, German wine, believe it or not. And you're right. The towns are really small. They're right on the river, and it's really steep. So the wine, they grow in this wine on these really, really steep ridges and mountains. It's really crazy. I don't even know how they harvest that stuff. I don't think they can do it totally mechanical. But anyway, yeah, the towns are really small, and yeah, they live off of wine and tourism because there is kind of tourism to these little towns. You can go on these like little, river cruises, and go visit little towns and stuff. But yeah, that's kind of country in a way, I guess.
I love wine.
Like wine?
I love wine.
Randolph County makes batteries.
A lot and lots of batteries and equipment that you didn't even know you needed. That's what we're good at.
There's not very much wine in Frankfurt. It is interesting though. In my neighborhood, pretty much, there is a small hill or large hill, let's say, and the Romans came there a long time ago and planted grapes, and they were making wine. And there's still wine there. So there's like a small little winery there. I don't know how many bottles they make a year, but it's pretty interesting because it's just right, in the outside of the city. It's still in the city technically, but it's not downtown or anything.
Right.
But that's pretty cool because you wouldn't expect it. It's not very well known, but there is a lot of Rhine.
What's that town called?
The town where the wine is,
little old Roman town. It's like one of the oldest towns in that area.
Well, oh shit, I forgot the name of the oldest town in Germany. Well, Mainz is nearby. That was a Roman town. So like Maine with a Z on the end, Mainz. And that was a Roman town. And there's already wine over there. It's not far away it starts. So isn't there wine in North Carolina though? There are some grapes growing. Where's the wine in North Carolina?
I think the one that people talk about is Yadkin Valley. Is that right?
Yadkin Valleys. Well, if you go to the mountains, there's everything, even besides like liquor. I mean,
there are actually a bunch of vineyards throughout the Piedmont. So if you can go south from Asheboro down towards Moore County, and there are vineyards there. There's actually some really old vineyards that date back to Italians immigrating back in, I guess, like the 1800s. And then don't quote me on that year. And then if you go north, straight up past Greensboro, up into Virginia, all along those highways going straight north through the Piedmont, of course, that's where you have vineyards because they're Piedmont grapes.
Well, I mean, if you look at like Moore County and everything, practically half of the state lives off of winery and pottery. So I mean,
there's pottery stuff in the same area, just like clay.
Yeah, because why not?
What about moonshine?
Right.
And there's some good moonshine over there near Asheboro.
This area is known for being the home of moonshining and NASCAR
and meth. We are really really good at meth too. We're like in between Florida and New York. We do our fair share amount of
There's a legacy
well, North Carolina is between Florida and New York, so.
But Asheboro's the dead center. Like Asheboro is.
Well, guess what? When I grew up in Rocky Mount and when I grew up in Wilson too, everybody said the same thing. It was directly in the middle between New York and Florida. It's right.
No. I mean, Asheboro's in the middle of North Carolina.
Okay, yeah. That's
we're dead center.
That's why it's in the middle of nowhere, right?
Yeah, exactly. We have nothing. But I can get to everything in like an hour and a half in any direction.
Do you know the story about Biggie Smalls getting busted in Rocky Mount for selling crack?
No. Do you know the story about Riff Raff getting arrested?
Wait, hold on. Go back to the Biggie Smalls story. I missed that one. Tell us about that.
Arrested in Rocky Mount or Roanoke Rapids, one or the other, selling crack.
So did Bobby Shmurda.
Is that the whole story? What happened exactly?
I don't know the whole story. It's in the Biggie Smalls documentary.
Oh, well, Riff Raff. Last time he was in North Carolina, which he's coming in a week. Last time he was here, I think he got arrested for shrooms, pot, coke, LSD, and I think maybe even more. And he just walked away scot clean. And then you have like that one guy, Bobby Shmurda. He got arrested with like a ton of crack on him and like weapon charges and like they also tried to get him or are trying to get him on a murder. So I mean.
Well, I don't even know who Riff Raff is, so I'm totally out.
Whoa! Trust me, it's
ask the listeners if they know who Riff Raff is.
Yeah, so we've got at least one viewer. I know right now, at least one person's. Hey, one viewer, you're watching this live, and if you have any questions, you can just. There's this little thing on the YouTube video. You can click that, and you can ask questions, or you can post them in the YouTube comments, and we'll check them and we'll ask your questions because we're experts here. We're experts on just about everything. So
I have a PhD,
ask away.
Literally, at least 5 different things.
Right.
Sort of.
1 PhD in 5 different things, or 5 PhDs in different things.
I just kind of wing it. It's whatever sounds better to the crowd. I let them choose.
Just self-negation.
I mean, push comes to shove. They're the ones that are listening.
Have you had any Islamic violence in Frankfurt today?
No, we haven't, but everybody is pretty freaked out. Well, not everybody. The media is freaked out. Um, I think people are talking about it a lot, and the politicians are talking about it a whole lot, but no, there hasn't been. And actually, when everything went down in Paris, actually, I was a little worried because there's a very cool um, magazine that comes out of Frankfurt called Titanic. It's kind of like I can't really explain it. It's a satire magazine, and it's pretty hard hitting. I mean, they've had the Pope on there. You know, they made fun of him pretty hardcore, especially when there was the German Pope. And they do a lot of cool things. Probably the coolest thing that they've done so far is that related to that magazine, Titanic, they were able to get they made a political party, and they were able a satire political party, and they were able to get one single representative into the EU Parliament, into the European Union Parliament, only because the election laws are totally different. So they changed the European Union election laws that if you get 1% of your country, then you get one delegate in. So you don't have to get. There used to be a rule where you have to have at least 5% of your party, and then you get in. And then you have 5 representatives. So there's a different system in a lot of Europe. It's a parliamentary system. And in America, they use the whole thing where you vote for the delegates and the electoral college and all that shit. So I'm not saying that I like the European system better. The only advantage is if you're doing a joke party like they did, it's possible that you actually get enough votes to get into your state or local election, enough to get into the local parliament, and then you get money to print more posters and shit, basically. You get tax money to print more stuff. So that's pretty crazy. Can you guys hear me? Okay, they're having technical difficulties. Well, we're used to that. That's cool. It's all good. Anyway, I will try to get a screenshot of them. So it's pretty cool. The name of the political party is called The Party. And they basically ran with the slogan, "We are going to milk the European Union for as much money as we possibly can." So I really liked their slogan and their campaign. I mean, it was really sarcastic and stuff, but yeah, they managed to get in. All right, let's see what we can do with the technical problems. How many minutes is it going to take for us to solve our technical problems? Ladies and gentlemen, there in North Carolina, they're working on the technical problems really hard. We're doing our multi-device podcast here, and we're going to get it under control soon. So in the meantime, I'll give us an update about Bitcoin. So the Bitcoin price crashed since the last show, went totally parabolic down, and yeah, right now, so okay, the price went really down a whole lot, crashed. Now it's gone back up to 200, so it crashed all the way down to, well, let's see, on one of the exchanges, it went down to, hold on a second, $162. And you have to think in November and December last year, November and December 2013, it was over $1,000. And just on January 15th, it crashed all the way down to $162. It didn't crash from 1,000. It had already gone down the whole year. But it crashed since the new year from 318 down to 162. Now it's back up to about 200. So a lot of people are worried about the price and wondering why it went down, why it crashed. and so on. And there's a lot of things going on with that in the background. There are people, traders doing some, price manipulation. There are all kinds of things. Okay, guys, I'm getting the message. Theo, let us in. Well, I gave you the link. If you want, should I resend you guys the link? Just put it in the chat, and I'll do it. Thanks for staying with us. You're a single viewer. This is live on air. We can also tune in to the guys in North Carolina, even though they're silent. Their sound doesn't work. That's also pretty cool. Check it out. That's North Carolina. So, and also at the moment there is the Ross trial, the Silk Road trial in New York City, and there are some interesting developments there, but I think we need to back up and talk about what that's all about. So there was a website called the Silk Road. You could only access it via Tor, and you could buy anything the heart desired there, including things that are illegal in some jurisdictions. Illegal things could include Bibles, they could include drugs, they could include who knows what. So the government is basically saying they've captured the person that was behind this website, who had the pseudonym Dread Pirate Roberts, also known as DPR, and there's a trial going on right now in New York City. Let's see if I can get something up with that. And it has started, and there are activists outside supporting Ross, and there also are talking about something called jury nullification. This is when jurors, even though they might think the person is guilty, they do not convict them because they think the law itself is unjust. And this is perfectly legal in the USA, also in England. It comes from English common law originally, and this is totally legal. So I think everybody needs to educate themselves about jury nullification. If you do get called for jury duty, and there is a case that you think the law is unjust, you could just decide not to convict the person. Or if you don't feel like going on jury duty, I think if you walked in and just said the word jury nullification, probably you would not serve on that jury. I'm 99% sure. So let's pull up if I can find it, pull up the Wikipedia on jury nullification while these guys figure out their technical issues. If I can do that, let's see. Well, of course, I do not have that ready, but that's all right. It's no problem. I'm going to keep on going anyway. Yeah, so jury nullification is something everybody should look up because anybody could be called to jury. And it's basically the only chance that the public has to block unjust criminalization, even though it's against the law. So, just what, 5 years ago, there are still people going to prison for having marijuana or something like that, and now it's legal in a lot of states. So just imagine that you got called to jury duty for someone that could possibly go to jail for that, and yeah, you have the chance to say, hey, forget that, I'm not gonna allow that. So here's the Wikipedia on jury nullification. Let's see if you guys can see that. Yeah, it looks like you can. And exactly, it occurs in a trial when a jury acquits a defendant, even though the members of the jury believe the defendant to be guilty of charges. This may occur when members of the jury disagree with the law the defendant has been charged with breaking or believe the law should not be applied in that particular case. Yeah, so just how I said, when you think the law is full of crap, you could say, hey, I'm not going to do it. So what happened was, I think, like, let's look here, England, I think like King Henry or something basically was not pleased with how a jury was deciding and just locked people away until they came up with a guilty verdict. So after that, in English common law, they were like, okay, forget that. We've got to have a way for people to, you know, say that's messed up. So they invented this thing, jury nullification. It says here that in the United States it appeared just before the Revolutionary War, which is pretty interesting. Colonial juries frequently exercised their nullification power, principally in maritime cases and cases implicating free speech. So all the people that are now, you know, speaking out against jury nullification, including the judge in the current Silk Road trial going on right now in New York City, have got to remember that this has a long history in America, and you know, this is a common law, common right of people to exercise jury nullification. You know, you've got here fugitive slave law, post-Civil War, 21st century, you know, and so there have been some drug cases in the last years that where jurors have used jury nullification in order to prevent someone going to trial, which is pretty interesting because most people have no idea that they have the right to do this. They probably think, oh shit, I've got to either say guilty or not guilty, and I think he did it. I don't like the law, but I know they did it, so I gotta say guilty. No, you don't have to say you're guilty. You do not have to do that. You do not have to convict if you think the law itself is unjust. So guys, in North Carolina, you guys are way too quiet. So why don't you type something in the chat and I'll read it for our viewers so then we can have the conversation going on. Do you guys have any questions about jury nullification? Or what's up with your phone? Do phones work in North Carolina? They're not working right now. Answer. So I can, and so this is really high-tech stuff. This Google Hangouts, and sometimes it is difficult to use. So we had some technical problems last time, and we've got a few now, but we'll figure it out. So as I was talking about, let's see what's going on Twitter. If anyone's asking us any questions, we've got a few retweets, but nobody has asked us a question. But we have a few retweets. Over at Facebook, nobody has said anything. And the Bitcoin price is currently $206. And there you can see where it went down really low over here, or it has that red line down to 166, and currently it's trading at around 207 on the exchange Bitfinex. Okay, let's check out the North Carolina guys again. Hey guys, what are you doing? Still no answer. That's cool. I'll take this solo. Sometimes you gotta go solo. All right. All right, let's see if anyone posted a question in the comments of the YouTube video itself. Live on air, I'm checking the same video that we are making right now. Maybe I can even get some really weird echo going on. Let's check it out here. Hold on. All right, let's see if anyone posted a question in the comments of the YouTube video. Pretty weird, huh? So right now, I don't even need partners. I'm talking to myself
This
here.
is when
Pretty
jurors,
interesting, huh?
even though they might think the person is guilty, they do not convict them because they think the law itself is unjust.
But how is that allowed?
It's perfectly legal in the USA, also in England. It comes from
Really?
English common law
Are you sure?
originally.
Well, I bet you originally does come
It's
from England.
totally legal, so I think everybody needs to
Well, I hope
educate
it's
themselves
legal.
about jury nullification.
Yeah,
If
educate
you want
yourself.
if you do get called for jury duty,
Yeah.
and there is a case that you think the law is unjust, you could just decide not to convict the person, or if you don't feel like going on jury duty,
But they're
I
guilty.
think if you walked in and just said the word jury nullification, probably you would not serve on that jury.
Oh, that's a cool. So I can get out of jury
100%.
duty. That's not a bad thing. Pretty cool.
So let's
So I'm basically
pull
working
up
for
the-
free in that case.
If I can find it, pull up the Wikipedia on jury nullification.
Yep.
While these
Wikipedia,
guys
it's
figure out
high-tech.
their technical issues.
Are you guys back?
Yeah, I guess so.
All right.
Waiting for us to give up.
Yeah.
See if it'll keep working. What did you mute? Can't hear
I
it.
didn't mute anything.
So
Hi. I'm here.
okay.
I was muting myself to let you guys talk. So
I don't know what happened. The phone is acting crazy, man.
it's probably the NSA. So what's going on right now is we totally overloaded the NSA system with all the keywords that we were talking about, and they were like, "Fuck this! We gotta shut this down," you know. So that's could be what happened.
Seems like they would be busy.
No, it's automatic, dude. They're not. Yeah.
It's
We're-
just a computer program.
Yeah, we're a really big threat. So, but anyway, I don't know if you saw, but I just took when I was already talking alone, and then I just played that back and I talked on top of it. So you got some multi-tracking action going on. Hey, viewers out there, if you're in the meantime, this is a good reminder to viewers. If you really like those technical problems that we just had, you can help us solve those problems. All you've got to do is donate some Bitcoin to us. The address is in the description of the video, and we can use those funds to buy some really high-tech video equipment and nice microphones for the guys in North Carolina. I've already got a pretty cool one. I mean, I can always use a better one. Look, check this out. Looks pretty good, huh?
I want that one.
Oh, that is cool looking.
Yeah. So it costs probably like about $100, but it sounds good, and it has a USB connection, so you just connect it directly up to the computer, and it also has a headphone out. It's a pretty cool thing. So it really sounds.
I've got the PS3 camera and microphone, which should work pretty well. Good enough for jazz. But the driver costs money, so I may have to do a workaround. But I'm moving into a new studio right now, so I got an empty.
Well, that
apartment
sounds
here.
good. So we'll
I'll
get
be able to
better
set
at
something
setting.
up.
We'll
next
get
week.
better. Yeah, those mics on some of the cameras do work pretty well. I've got one on mine too. But yeah. Anyway, fans out there, just send us over some Bitcoin, and we'll hook everybody up with some really high quality mics.
You want to talk about the software that we are using?
Sure. What do you mean, Hangouts or what other software?
Hangouts.
So are we using?
You
Yeah,
wanna
so-
give them a briefing.
Yeah, well, I just want to tell. Yeah, well, okay. Well, this is the thing. Of course, like Google and YouTube, they're not really the best companies in the world. We all know that. But just the cool thing is that now basically anyone can have their own TV show. I mean, if you've got a webcam, it's good to have like a high HD webcam, but you don't have to have one. But if you just, as long as you have something to say, you can basically have a TV show now on the internet. So that's
This is
pretty
awesome.
cool.
Mhm.
But now?
It's fun, and you might as well do it. That way you can keep in touch with your friends overseas and stuff. And shoot, if you're going to be talking on a phone anyway for 30 minutes, you may as well publish it and provide some content for people.
And people pay to watch me cry on the internet
It's
sometimes.
better than the bullshit on TV.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's way better. this is like reality TV, not sub-reality TV,
Not
right?
reality TV.
Yeah,
This is the
exactly.
kind of reality that you go into the bathroom, turn the sink on so that nobody hears you crying reality. It's pretty serious stuff.
This is like hard-hitting,
I don't have to
raw.
worry about people hearing me cry because I live alone.
Oh, problem solved.
Yeah. So next time, or maybe this time, you can also do live jam sessions. That's pretty funny. So if you just
Like
one
we
person that's got the guitar, the other one. I mean, it doesn't sound really high quality, but it's pretty cool. You can also do stuff like that. I mean,
Tonight we're having the anti-culture, anti-music, anti-art at Lumina at 9 o'clock, and maybe we'll publish those later because I think because you have like all this distortion and time lapse and stuff through this medium, maybe it's a good way to make sort of deconstructive collaboration stuff with sound and video.
So you want to take your phone with you to Lumina and do a hangout or what?
Well, I'm going to be using Rebirth on the phone, so it won't make sense to do a hangout through the phone. But maybe
So you're going to do like a live thing with Rebirth or what?
Yeah, just going to do a live like social sculpture with Rebirth, and maybe next week I can publish it on Hangouts.
Okay, so I'm thinking of Rebirth, the old program with 2 drum machines and 2 303 synths. Is that the same one you're thinking about?
Yeah, they have a good app for the Android phone.
Wow, that's pretty cool. So tell us about your social structure. What's the concept?
Social sculpture.
Sorry, social sculpture. Tell us about it.
So a social sculpture is a sculpture that exists within the social.
I mean, the society.
No, it's not in the society. It's just social. It involves people instead of like an iron sculpture. It's a people sculpture.
Yeah, so I really like that concept, and I've done some stuff like that. So I just wanted to ask, so it's going to be Lumina, for all of you that don't know, Lumina is a beer and wine bar, I guess you would call it.
Yeah.
And they have a lot of cool beer there. And so can people interact with the Rebirth thing? Are you just going to play some tunes, or what is tell us more about the concept.
The Rebirth thing probably just delineates the time and space where that interaction is sort of focused.
Mm-hmm.
But since it's anti-cultural, it needs to negate itself.
So how is it anti-cultural?
It's negating it, like the society and the culture that it's part of, or acting against it, acting against culture, or production of culture, consumption of culture. So it's acting against art and music and language, etc.
Are you talking about the commodity? I think you posted something about that. You mean making culture making culture a commodity?
Right. Well, this is like making an anti-commodity that destroys itself.
Yeah, well, that's great. I'm all for total destruction, of course. But so I'll tell you about one that I did. I mean, you could use it in some similar way. So one that I think would fit into that is I called it Crash Course in Next Level Turntablism. And so what I did is so I'm going to try I wish I could draw. Actually, you can draw on the screen, but I'm not ready for that. So what I did is I took a table, and I was behind the table like DJs are, but I had 3 turntables, and then on the left side I had a pile of records, and on the right side it was empty. And then I distributed through the audience different tools. Actually, you could come up to the table and get the tools. So the tools that I had were lighters, sandpaper, and I don't remember what else. I think I had screwdrivers and some other stuff. And I told everybody, okay, you can do whatever you want to the records. And so I'm going to play the records, and really quick, like little bits of them, and scratch and do weird stuff. And then when I'm done with one of the records, I'm going to put it here on the right side, and then you can come get the records from the right side, and you can then scratch them with the stuff I gave out, or put the lighter to them and melt them a little, and then you put them back on the left side, and then I come through and I play them again, and then it continues. So it's like, I call it a physical feedback loop. So
Yeah.
it continued on, and then I was just controlling, how the levels of it, or manipulating it, but it was
So
like
that's
really
like
interactive, and everybody.
It's like a social
Yeah.
music. Social music.
Exactly, it's like a social music, and so I did another one in a way similar, and I'll tell you, actually, it's a kind of funny story how it happened, because to be honest, I said I would do something at a concert, and I just didn't feel like it. I was just really unmotivated, and I didn't have any ideas, and I was just, sometimes you just don't feel like doing anything. And I have a video of it somewhere on YouTube, but damn it, I can't find it right now. But anyway, I'll just explain it. It's pretty easy. All I did was set up one mixer on a round table. So you could do this in Lumina too, if maybe. Might be really interesting after everyone drank a bunch of craft beer or something. So what you do is I set up one round table, and it had one mixer on it. What is that you're holding up? Let me see.
Nothing, man.
Is that Drano or what?
Finish.
Finish. Jet dry.
Oh, so are you huffing or what? Live on air? Okay, that's hardcore. Yeah. So, anyway, what I want to say. So, imagine, here's a little MP3. Imagine that's the mixer, okay? And the mixer is on the middle of the table, and it just has a bunch of cables. So it's only a mixer with cables, and the input is put into the output, etc. on these. So it's just a feedback mixer only. And one of the outputs goes to the PA system, so you can hear what's going on. But the input is in the output, and the output, and the input, output, and the last one that's available goes to the PA. And then there's a round table, and there's chairs around the round table, and everybody that wants, there's not enough chairs for everybody, but if you want, you can sit at the round table. And then whoever is in front of the mixer gets to play with the mixer, and you have to figure out what it makes. But in time, I did time intervals. I started with 30 seconds, then it starts 30 seconds, and then after 30 seconds, I shine a flashlight on you, and then you have to move to the next seat, kind of like musical chairs.
Oh, that's awesome.
And then the next person comes, and next person comes, and if you want to get out of the circle, you can just get up and get out. It doesn't matter. And a new person can come into the circle too. It doesn't matter. And then after I saw, it's about everybody going around, then I just shortened the interval every time, like 20 seconds, 10 seconds, and then 5 seconds. And that was pretty cool. We did it for about 20 minutes, and that was really fun. And it was like better than a lot of concerts. I mean, it was just fun, really, to be honest. It wasn't like all artsy and serious in that sense. But people are still talking about it, and I'm still talking about it too. I still think it was really cool. So I think that it's also similar to that other feedback loop thing I was talking about that I did with the records. But I think that's a real fun way, and people get it. They can interact with it, and they say, "Hey, this is really interesting." And basically, what I wanted to show with the feedback mixer is that anyone can do it. You just have to jump in. If you jump in the water, you can figure out how to do a lot of things.
Yeah, I think noise is a lot more fun if you're making it. I like watching it, but it makes watching it. It's just like with electronica. It's a lot more fun to me if I know what the DJ's doing. I'm listening to how he's mixing. Same thing with noise. I'm like sort of being interested in how it's being made. Adds another level of enjoyment to something that can be pretty hard for some people to find common ground with. But this thing I'm doing is more like less of a music thing and more of feeling sort of alienated and disempowered by art movements like Fluxus that are really elitist and within the institution, and not knowing how to interact with that stuff, and just sort of wanting to do some sort of action that is against those art movements, even if nobody really experiences it, just sort of like a ritual against Fluxus in that.
Oh, I like that ritual against Fluxus. That's pretty rough, but that's cool too. Yeah, so you're not alone. So there's a guy I know that's been doing it for like, I don't know, over 10 years, and he just stopped doing art as a objects and anything like that. And he just did really little events. He didn't like go to other events and do stuff like you're doing, but his whole thing was social, like what you're talking about, and he talked about that. He just did little events and had people over, and that was the art. That was it, you know. And sometimes he had themes and stuff, but it was also sometimes just hanging out, and he just gave it a name, and that was it. So, but
yeah, it's really interesting to me. It's like just some way to be engaged without being totally disempowered by all that elitist terminology and artsy talk, you know. But also
right. Well, it's just about like controlling the narrative. People are afraid that they're gonna like lose power, or they want to hold on to the power they do have. Oh, I'm an authority because I don't know, I'm the master of harsh noise, or I don't know, whatever the hell kind of thing. It doesn't mean that you can't be skilled and do that genre, but I just don't. That what annoys me with all that. I like some of the Fluxus stuff, but what annoys me about it is like. Yeah, taking themselves overly seriously. I think all the same stuff you're talking about, basically. Can't really pinpoint what annoys me about it, but it would be better if they didn't take themselves so seriously and like we're like normal people,
It just seems like that so much of that part of art wants to find a way to make a living doing it, and it just I think it totally undermines everything they're doing, and
right.
So my experience of that stuff consuming it, it's like leaving with a fatty food hangover at the end.
Why?
You're rolling around naked. Great.
Yeah, but you know why? It's because it's not genuine. It's not genuine because they're doing it in order to get funding from whatever weird government program or gallery thingy that they're going to get funded by, and they have to fulfill a certain, they have to be in a certain bounds, even though it's supposed to be art and it's even supposed to be weird shit. It can't be too alienating or too crazy. It has to fit within these borders, otherwise they're not going to get, this certain amount of funding. What I think is horrible is that and also a lot of experimental music too, it's the people that try to do it full time, it's basically based on writing grants and making these really nice resumes of whatever. Oh, I played here, I did releases, oh, I did a thing in a gallery or whatever. And in the end, it makes the music uninteresting because, like I said, it loses that edge. It's not genuine anymore. They're doing it in order to the means is to not make make stuff in order to get the funding from the grants and not to make good stuff.
Another thing that bothers me or that I've experienced is there's a lot of this. The only real value is my personal narrative and my psychological space, and everything I do and say is okay because I'm expressing from my psychological space, and it just seems to be like a justification for really bad personality traits and psychosis, and it's just I don't know. You could be. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I did take a few psychology classes, but I don't even know. But it does lend itself to those. I see what you mean. It could lend itself to the supporting some really bad. Like
what?
What is it where the individual is the highest value? Like there's no God. There's just the individual and its desires, and so it's this super individualistic, very capitalist.
Practically Satanism.
Yeah, pretty much Satanism.
Pretty much Satanism. Atheistic Satanism.
Well, yeah, but
that's the institution.
I'm not against individual liberty.
No, I'm not either.
I don't think any of us are, but it's not about that. I see what you mean. It definitely lends itself to that.
Well, there's a difference in
It's like narcissism.
there's a difference between
Yeah.
individual liberties and just being a piece of shit. Like there's a huge difference.
And it,
Like if you're gonna use your personal liberties to make other people feel less about themselves,
to be to be
yeah, to be who,
abusive
yeah.
and aggressive and mask it behind
That-
this like
Yeah,
Oh,
I agree.
it's not about the self. I'm doing my work about the common, but
yeah, it's like having a
but
god
really
complex.
no, it's about you being your artist, you know, and putting your ass on display and being
Right.
abusive.
So did something happen? Is Asheboro an art town?
Yeah, it's like there's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a really heavy art scene in Asheboro.
It's a ton of different scenes too, though. I mean, it's got a couple different things. I mean, you obviously have, pottery, which is a huge part of this
Pottery
area.
people can be really abusive,
Well, pottery people can be
and
annoying.
narcissistic.
Well, actually, I do see that one. Like,
All right,
I've had-
hold on. Back
it's
up.
true.
Pottery people are narcissistic and abusive. I'm just trying to I mean, I can imagine it. I get it. I think I took like one
There's a
pottery
lot-
class, but
There are a lot of photography students here, and they're even worse than potters.
is there a
There's big
school
photography-
or something?
Yeah, it's a
Why?
big- the community college has a photography school,
It's number one in the nation.
and they think they're fucking artists because they take pictures of shit.
Wait a minute here. The photography, the community college is number one in photography in the nation.
Apparently so.
What the hell? See, you learn new stuff every day. That's amazing.
You learn all types of shit. Eh.
Wow, that's
I don't
crazy.
figure it would be that hard to get into though, because it is a community college. So I guess being the number one
But
community
they're always
college.
talking about how we have this big photography program and shit. It's just
Okay, well, fair enough. I like photography. I mean, you know,
I'm fucking-
you had a uncle, right? That was a famous photographer.
right. My grandfather was a famous photographer.
I'm
yeah.
a huge fan of photojournalism.
What was his name?
George Thames. So
He
there's
took a really famous photo of JFK. Hey, show us the photo. Let me see if I can. pull
I
it.
don't know. Yeah, I don't have one ready. But
Oh.
what is cool is that if you look it up on YouTube, there's when he was on David Letterman. That's pretty
wow.
cool. Yeah. So no, he took also a famous picture is he took the picture for the 5-cent stamp of David Eisenhower. So that's pretty cool.
Cool.
But anyway, yeah, I know a little bit about. I'm not saying I'm an expert about photography or anything.
Speaking of David
Uh,
Letterman,
Yeah.
did you know the kids from Future Islands when they were in Greenville?
I don't know. Not well. I knew two of the people from Art Lord, but
So did you notice that whole thing happened this?
yeah, I did. Yeah, Future Islands blew up. I like their music. I also really like the video of Tin Man. I don't know if you've seen it on YouTube, but it's really North Carolina centric. It shows like Atlantic Beach. It shows some people in Greenville. I think I recognize. I think that it's filmed. I think it's filmed a lot in Greenville. Inside, it looks like the way that a lot of houses look in there a lot of times. And then in the end, it's filmed in Baltimore where they move. So it's kind of like a little story. Yeah, but that whole thing, yeah, right. David Letterman,
I bet it cuts
Future
off.
Islands, that whole thing happened this year. And yeah, that's that. I mean, they get mostly credit from Baltimore. I mean, that's where mainly the Future Islands happened, I guess. But yeah, they're basically a North Carolina band, right?
Yeah, I really enjoy them.
Right.
I always like those guys, but they're really good now. I like what they're doing vocally. And
Speaking of something interesting, they're art students, aren't they?
yeah, they were from art school at ECU, and they had a band called Art Lord and the Self Portraits that was sort of mocking art.
What
school, being like a crazy egotistical art student.
genre?
It's like, what is that, like electropop?
Okay, because that sounded totally like a ska band name.
They're ska. They're ska.
In a way, I mean, they've got the keyboards. They don't have that chicka 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 kind of thing going on, but they've got the kind of keyboardy thing in some songs. But yeah, it's kind of like synth pop, but I think a lot of the recorded stuff has a drum machine, but live they have I think they just have like a tour drummer or studio drummer come on tour with them and play drums for them live. So they've got that like kind of live, and they've got a bass player. So it's like bass, keyboard, singer, and drummer live, and so no guitar or not that much guitar itself, just bass.
They were on Austin City Limits last week. I hadn't had a chance to watch it yet.
I don't even know what that is.
It's a well-known show. So yeah, that happened this year, and I'm glad for them. I think they're touring their ass off.
Yeah.
Let's see if they stay together. I hope they stay together and can survive touring all the time.
They've been friends for a while.
Yeah, I'm kind of wondering like about his voice. I mean, he can sing really good, but I don't know. That's a lot of touring, and I think you wreck your voice. You just wreck your voice after a while.
You have to really take care of it. Brian in Regatta 69 used to like really like you have to not talk all day. If you want to, you have to try not to talk like all day.
Yeah. So I don't know how to. Well, of course I'm not really a good singer, but if I do vocals, which is mostly like screaming and yelling, I can't talk the next day. I'm just doing it wrong. Or I can talk, but I just sound all fucked up.
It's normal. It's just the voice cords can only take so much stress. You have to take care of them if you're going to use them.
Yeah, so I never did a tour with the projects where I'm just alone and I scream a lot because I couldn't do it. I could probably like do 2 shows and that's it, because my voice would just be gone, And so yeah, there were nights where I did a show like that where I did vocals and then I like stayed up really late talking the whole night and I sounded weird for like a whole week, It's really wild.
Whenever you want,
You're good, man.
So Cody is much younger than us and listens to actual good music.
Well, some good music.
Like what?
Give us a playlist.
Depends on what you want. I mean, well, I know you guys like hardcore, and like I was saying to you earlier, the new Turnstile album, it's fucking killer. They're coming to North Carolina in mid-February, and they're going to hit up Fayetteville, which we talked about earlier, too, about that one Fayetteville show you went to. And
right. Well, back then it was called Vietnam. I don't know.
Well, the thing is, most people nowadays, most hardcore shows some are in Fayetteville, but a lot of people around here don't want to actually travel to Fayetteville, not because of the distance, just because Fayetteville is a really bad area. And so I feel like when you play Fayetteville, you're going to get the better shows with the fans, because the fans that come are the fans that really wanted to be there. So I feel like it's like a give a little and receive a little. It's like one of those things that when you get it, you're recognizing that you're not going to make as much money necessarily like if you'd have played Greensboro or an area like that, but at the same time you're going to get that show. That's the reason that you want to do it.
So there's still some kind of like hardcore association with Fayetteville after all these years?
Yeah, there is. That Greensboro's hardcore scene is taking off. They got a couple good bands like Future Primitive. And then there's a couple out near Greenville. I don't know exactly where Knocked Loose is from, but they're a good local band. And then, everyone in North Carolina that listens to hardcore knows about the Richmond scene, and that's got really awesome bands. They have a pretty big straight edge community up there, actually. Well, I guess most hardcore scenes do, but there isn't really a huge hardcore straight edge thing in North Carolina, it seems like, unless you go really into the heart of it. And so I think it's really cool to see bands like Down to Nothing, take what they believe in and really shout it out, because their last album was in 2013, but they're planning on touring again soon, and they're probably one of my favorite bands, and not just because they're sort of local, they're just, they truly care about what they believe in, and the way it's formatted, the way they tour, the way they carry themselves, they consider themselves a family, and that's what I like about the hardcore scene around here, but mainly in Richmond. Richmond has a really awesome hardcore scene.
Wow, it's really interesting to hear about. I mean, I went to some hardcore shows. I mean, I guess it was mostly what you would call post-punk, but
I mean,
Dreamville.
I like
Yeah, well, yeah, or I don't know, no, post-hardcore.
post-hardcore is just as good, man.
Yeah, well,
I
whatever. I mean, we didn't. I don't think that. I don't know if we really thought about it. I mean, there was a point where we were like, "Oh, that's kind of emo," but I think before that, nobody.
man,
But it wasn't like emo, like really melodic. It was just.
okay, I'm
It wasn't-
really emo.
It wasn't okay. Well, it wasn't chugga chugga, and it was kind of noisy, and people just like somehow, and guys were freaking out, and somehow they just started calling that emo. But there was a time when nobody called it emo. There was no real genre.
Well,
It was just
There's a
punk.
couple of different ways to look at emo. All right, one of the first ones. All right, we're good.
Yeah, we're on again.
Are we good?
Okay, now you're good. Yeah, I couldn't hear you for
Okay.
a second. I thought it was
All
me,
right.
but yeah.
Well,
Okay, tell us about
anyways,
emo again.
all right. Well, emo. It didn't necessarily start in the '90s because you have stuff like the Smiths and everything that could be considered like early versions of it. But you look into like the late '90s and mid '90s, and you look at bands like Mineral, American Football, Cap'n Jazz, all that stuff. That was where emo really took off. And there was Scram stuff, and Scrams became really popular. And then in like the early 2000s, there was this whole break where emo became this really popular phase, and it was like transitioned into a ton of pop punk, and it still is. And one of the, there was like a subgenre, like a fake genre that came out of it called mall emo. And it was practically just the shit you'd hear in the mall, like, Dashboard Confessional, all that shit that was considered, like Fall Out Boy, like, not real emo, but like shit that people, if they hear it on the radio, it's going to come off as like completely fucking emo to them. So it was kind of like a phase there. And then, you look at those bands now, fucking Fall Out Boy is back, but they're not punk anymore, really. I mean, they're just doing their shit, which I guess is punk, but it's not like punk rock,
Right. I'll be right back. Hold on, I gotta go for a second. I'll be right back.
All right, man.
Keep talking.
Yeah.
All right. Well, yeah, I mean, there's tons of different things. I mean, if you look at punk as a whole, there's so many different genres you get into that, like, overlap. I mean, there are certain hardcore bands, like melodic hardcore bands, that come off as straight emotional shit. And then there's some bands that can go into, like, melodic hardcore and come out looking like, holy fucking shit, why are we not in a sludge band? It really just kind of depends on what you are. I don't think that punk necessarily has to be a genre. Like, I think that if you just put a genre on it, yeah, it's okay. And, like, I do that as well. But, I mean, like, some of the shit you hear, I mean, it might sound like something, but it's completely different. I mean, punk is more of a mindset movement, one that is like an individual movement. I mean, you can't just say, hey, we're punk because we all do this together. That's not punk. What's punk is the single individual making the choice that that's what he wants to do. That's who he wants to do it with. That's what's punk. It's not, oh, I hang out with my friends doing this that makes it punk. It's what you believe in and how you take what you believe in and how you put it into your works and how you put it into your life, whether it be through music, through the scene, through whatever. It could be, and I've heard a lot of people talk about punk. I mean, punk is definitely a music genre. That's what most people think of when you think
But
punk.
it seems like it's a word that is used in different ways. So
Yeah.
it can mean a genre of music,
It can mean
or
a
it can mean
lifestyle.
like a kind of rhythm, or
Yeah.
it can mean like set values.
Yeah, it really all depends. I mean, like, I've met some people.
Subculture, counterculture.
Yeah, it's like I've met some people that had punk mentalities, but you wouldn't see them at a punk show. I mean, just because you stand up for what you believe in doesn't mean you listen to punk rock, but I mean, punk is just a movement for standing up for what you believe in,
Right.
Not dealing with the shit that, you don't conform unless, you want to conform, but who the fuck wants to conform?
But it's okay for a word to be used to mean different things in
Yeah.
different contexts.
Absolutely.
Like,
I mean,
there's different kinds of trains.
I mean, there's different types of punks. Like, I mean, you've got
Emo!
emo, exactly. Like, I mean, I listen to a ton of emo. I listen to like pop punk. Who the fuck listens to pop punk and takes music serious? I mean, like, it's one of those things. I mean, like, it depends on my mood. Like, I can listen to like.
I know we Cap and Jazz. I mean, I was talking about at the, I guess like 1995.
That was around. When did
that
Mineral
time.
come out? When did Mineral come out? Was that 94?
What label was Mineral on?
I can't fucking
I don't
remember.
know.
I know
But,
that.
Or I don't know. I found some pretty cool YouTube channels, and they've got some cool lists of some old bands, some old 7-inches that you can like rediscover. It was really cool.
Let's see. They were on Caulfield and Crank.
Mineral's 1997.
See, 94 to 97. I thought they started in 94. The thing is, they're back. Mineral's back, and what's even cooler is that American football is back. And American football, if you like emo at all, you fucking love American football.
Oh, really? I don't even know American football.
Oh,
That's
man,
crazy.
American football,
Gotta check that out.
1999, I think, was when their self-titled came out. They didn't catch a wave. They actually, I mean, I've studied a lot of like the bands, and I've listened to a lot of interviews in general on all genres. But one of the things that strikes me with American football is like Kinsella, Mike. He didn't know that shit was gonna take off. Like it didn't take off. In fact, I mean that's why Captain hated it. And so after football broke up, it was like, I want to say like mid 2000s, and then like everyone out of nowhere just became like completely obsessed with them. And so what they ended up doing is they
started around 97 too.
They went through 97 through 99.
Illinois.
Yeah, and then they pretty much opened the doors for Scrams. I mean, Scrams was a genre, but like Scrams really took off like revitalized.
What is Scrams?
Scrams is emo. It's like the emo genre, but what they do is they involve horns and other instruments, which give it an extra layer to the sound. And so
Okay.
a lot of Scrams bands are actually math rock bands as well, but not math rock in the sense of like the Dillinger Escape Plan or anything like that. Just it's this own kind of format, and it kind of gave way to a whole nother movement, which now, I mean, pop punk when it began was all jokes, funny shit, like Blink, Sum 41. It was like just causing chaos and shit. And now it's in the past in the mid 2000s, like I want to say 2008, there was this thing called Easycore that really showed up. And Easycore, it was just pop punk with breakdowns, but it wasn't like metalcore or anything like that. It was just straight pop punk with, some heavy beatdowns. It was like bands like 4 Year Strong, certain A Day to Remember songs, and that really took off. But once that died out, the new thing was this thing that people are now calling true pop punk, which is just like some joke. But the thing is that it's got like an emotional layer to it. It's not necessarily, if you're a pop punk band, it doesn't mean that you're emo, but a lot of pop punk bands have been turning more and more into emo and grunge and stuff like that. Like, I've seen more of a grunge revival in the past 5 years than I'd been able to witness through 05 through 10.
Do you see like you see
Firestorm to purify.
Do you see kids wearing Nirvana T-shirts and stuff in Frankfurt?
Fucking Nirvana.
A little bit. And I'm wondering, how old they are. Nirvana?
Nirvana fans?
No. Hold on. The people are not old enough to have been around when they were around. So I'm wondering why they're wearing it sometimes. It's okay.
Their older brothers.
Well, I don't think
hold
that.
Hold on. It's okay. It's like Led Zeppelin when we were kids, But
Yeah,
what I
well,
want to
the way I look
say,
at it.
what I want to say is that what do I want to say? I want to say stereotypically, are the cloth bags really popular with the art kids and stuff?
What kind of cloth bags?
There's like book bags, but like when you hold it with your hand, it's like a cloth bag.
Yeah, it's kind of like it's like a satchel without the whole.
It's like a whole like trend thing,
Yeah.
That's what I think. Like
Not like a record bag?
T-shirt. No.
No, it's literally like the late '90s, like emo kids took around.
Yeah,
with
so I'm thinking, but it's like bag.
Yeah.
It's like Nirvana T-shirt
Yeah.
and like one of those like cloth bags.
Yeah, there's
And,
actually one in the music video
And
for.
then you've got
American
and
football.
check out the fashion right now. What's totally in fashion? that was like, reject emo kid kind of fashion in the 90s. I mean, nobody was wearing that kind of stuff.
Like the really normcore stuff?
Yeah, like, frame
Shit.
glasses. I mean, who was wearing frame glasses then? Only people going
Only
to
emo
shows.
kids. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
it was really not in style at all.
I thought they kind of looked like sailors.
I understand what you mean too, but it's like what you were saying about how they weren't alive for Nirvana. I don't look at it that way. I think that I mean, music isn't something that dies with its own age group. I think that when you look at stuff,
I'm just kind of fooling around. I know.
Oh, I know, man. I think it's important to recognize that. I think that it's good that people listen to bands like that. But the problem is that what I was going to get to is adding on to this is most of the people that wear Nirvana shirts in high school don't even listen to Nirvana. Like, I mean, they might know Nevermind, but they don't know anything like Bleach or anything like that. I mean, it's like, I don't want to say that all people that wear Nirvana shirts don't listen to Nirvana because that would be just stupid. I mean, obviously Nirvana has a strong fan base, but I feel like Nirvana became a fashion trend, just like certain bands. Like, I mean, there are stores like Hot Topic. God, I fucking hate Hot Topic.
It's like a Hot Topic.
Yeah, it's Hot Topic. I mean, if you go into a Hot Topic, you're gonna fucking see like a ton of Nirvana shirts, a ton of kids wearing shit that doesn't make sense. And I mean, fuck yeah, just do what you want to do. But
there was some article about Hot Topic, like licensing Smashing Pumpkins brand from Billy Corgan or something like that. Did y'all guys see that? I didn't really read it.
Well, yeah, I try to stay away from anything Hot Topic related.
I don't even know what the hell Hot Topic is. Maybe that's
it is. Imagine like, you know what scene is? Not emo, but like scene kids, like the ones that like listen to the. How do I explain it? Okay, imagine. Do you know Insane Clown Posse?
Like Juggalos.
Yeah, imagine Juggalos, but the punk version of Juggalos. They're like the punk version of Juggalos. Like they are. They're fucking bad. It's pretty rough, but I mean, you just look at it and like. That's what Hot Topic is. That's what Hot Topic's become. It's like studded belts all the time, with but not even the cool kind of studded belts. Like not like Billy Joe Armstrong on stage studded belts.
Hey man, forget studded belts. Bullet belts. That's
bullet
where
belts.
it's at. If you're gonna do it, then go all out. Bullet belt. You know, you get some high caliber going on here. You know, or like, well, you could. Hey, I got an idea, man. You guys could make it. Shotgun shell belts.
And you know the worst part is that fucking Hot Topic would probably buy something that fucking.
Dude, that's it. I just thought of it. That's the next fashion
It's like
statement.
rural, well, it's very rural punk.
Yeah, but that would catch on like wildfire, dude. Shotgun belt, not this bullet belt shit.
The thing is, also you got to recognize that
50 caliber belt.
Yeah, most of the people shopping at Hot Topic are like middle school and early high school ages, but they are really suburban families. Like half the people I know that listen to punk, any style of punk, went through a bad stage like that shit. But in the end, it seems like every single punk or hardcore fan I know is mainly fucking either middle class or higher. Like it's not like what you would see in like New York. It's not just like all different styles in New York. It's like there's only like one style in this area, and that's what's kind of a bummer, and that's what I kind of want to get away from. I kind of want it to be like you can be whoever you want and be included.
So,
you know?
So in Greensboro, a long time ago, there used to be two houses there that had shows. Damn it!
There's one now.
So I think that it used to be Lee Street or Guilford Street. I don't know. I have to look it up.
Green Street.
So okay, well,
Was it Green Street?
Well, hold on. I don't know, but I can look it up on YouTube. So I found a YouTube video of a historical concert I was at, but I didn't find myself in it. But so it was Action Patrol and Los Crudos in a house in Greensboro, and it's a pretty awesome video. It's a really good document of like
Oh, good.
the beginning is summer 1995 of like kind of feeling what was going on then in Greensboro. So if you guys are around Greensboro, you probably would really like to see it. I'll get you guys a link. And it's not a bad video either. And I mean, what is so cool about it is there's a lot of energy. Both the bands have a lot of energy. The crowd is cool. And yeah, there's no one taking like pictures all the time. I mean, there was someone videoing it, but there's not like, you know, you see all the like phones like videoing or like Instagramming and all that shit. I mean, I'm not against that. I mean, and sometimes, and if I'm somewhere,
I did that once to piss a band off. Actually,
well, I only try to take one picture with my phone per concert. I don't try to take like 5
I
billion.
never take photos. Like the only time I did it was to piss off one band.
Yeah, well, I'm not gonna. Or sometimes I don't do it at all either. But if I'm gonna do it,
Yeah.
I'm only gonna do
I
it
know
like
what I know
once,
what
and
you're
then I'm not, because I mean it's annoying, you know. And some of the flashes, people are like, they don't give a shit. The flashes on the phones are like these kind of like, you know,
Super LED.
light beams.
Super LED.
Yeah, it's
Well-
like it's blinding. You know, it's really crazy. They have no consideration at all, and they just.
Well, there's always assholes at shows, I think. So I guess
Yeah.
that's just like a new
I
wave
guess
of
that's
assholes.
Yeah, right. Anyway,
New wave, great. We're walking into a new generation of
Right.
complete
So you can
fucking fools. We're moving up in the world.
yeah, so
That
it's
is my
really
difference.
crazy what you can find on YouTube sometimes. I mean, I did find some old videos, not so many.
There was one up on someone posted on Facebook, like Chance or somebody, that was the
Yeah.
Unitarian Church in Greenville. A couple
Right.
Did you see that?
Yeah, I'm in that video. That's Candyland Car Crash, and I forgot the name of the band. If you like emo or whatever, you probably would really like them. And I can't remember what the name of their band was after that. It was also kind of famous. Candyland Car Crash was from Newport News or somewhere around there, I think. And also in the video are Alex's ex-bandmates, the two brothers. What were their names that played guitar really good? And they're like a famous indie group now, but I forgot their name right now. You remember that?
Yeah, no, but that's like, what was that, 95? It's way
Yeah,
before.
1995, right. And I remember that concert really well, but it's not in the video. There was also this band, so that was what was really cool about the shows back then sometimes. You get this really eclectic mix of styles. So it was like, oh yeah, you know who else played that show? I think the Antacids played. But I'm not sure if they played. That was
Who are
like
that?
those really young kids. They were like in high school, and it was a punk band. I forgot who
There's a
was in
couple
it.
punk bands in high school here.
Yeah, but that was pretty weird. But they went on to do other stuff. That's why it was so cool.
Yeah,
But anyway, and Candyland Car Crash played, and then a band called Anger. There was just like a real typical punk band played after that. So it was like kind of a
Punk rock
Eclect-
sucks.
yeah, but
That
you have
sucks.
like it was before there was like really like genreization of some of the shows. Like this is the
Right.
punk.
They just
You know, it
fucking
was
wing
like-
it, yeah.
Yeah, they were just like, well, whatever. They're in town. They're coming through. Let's just put this together.
Who
And it
gives
was
a
really
shit?
that was really cool. That was way better than like no, this is just a chugga chugga show. No, this is chugga chugga.
But
This is
Chugga
just a-
Chugga reminds me of shit that you would hear in like a metalcore or deathcore band. Like,
Yeah, well, that was
Shit.
all. That used to be the whole old straight edge kind of. Well, there was the straight edge that wasn't.
Well-
that was for a while, but I don't know if you've ever heard the 7-inch Judd. Have you ever heard that?
no, I have not.
Okay, this is what I'll tell you. This is what it sounds like, and it has lyric sheet too. Judd. And it's a real 7-inch. You've got to get it.
And it's all done vocally.
Yeah, and it's even done left right speaker. So they've got like some epics. They've got some. Dude, the breakdowns are unbelievably well done. You know, it's like what the, and it's great. And
Have you ever heard of Code Orange Kids? Or Code Orange, now they changed their name. Judd
No,
Judd is a popular Story So Far song, and it's easy core, so you gotta type in more than Judd Judd.
Okay, well, I'll find that. But anyway, that's really cool. Okay, well, to change the subject, to flip the switch, so it's not just, hey, you know that band kind of talk.
We have to say bye. We have to say bye.
Amen.
No, we don't have. You got to head out.
I gotta say bye.
I gotta stay.
He's gonna stay. I have to go. I gotta get home.
Well, yeah. Well, that was cool. And maybe you're around next week, and you can, talk about music or
Absolutely,
something.
man. Sounds good, dude.
All right, thanks.
All right.
I'll see you.
Later. Okay, Whit. What's up?
What were we gonna talk about next?
Well, I was gonna say I'll answer any questions about Bitcoin.
What are these?
Mm-hmm. Did we get any questions yet?
Actually, a friend of mine in Thailand, he commented on the video too. And when you watch it later, hold on.
I'll show
Just a
you later.
second.
Yeah.
That's loading. Yeah, we do have a few questions. Hold on. But yeah, he commented to. Like I said, that was pretty epic echo in there and everything. Hold on. Well, the questions went away. Oh, here we go. Yo, bro, you got your guests back. I guess I'll go do other stuff and I gave you all my spare coin already. So that's my friend Akron in Thailand. He's a Buddhist monk in Thailand, and he always watches and is part of the World Crypto Network. And he's really cool with support.
Does he stay at a monastery?
He lives in a monastery. Yeah.
You know what the name is?
No, but I can find out. And so he's really interested in Bitcoin and how it could maybe help a lot of corruption and other things that happen sometimes when people donate to things in general. So, and about how it can be used for transparency, multi-signature, etc. So yeah, we're working on some stuff in the background. And he also said, so he got mixed up. Maybe we can have him on next time, Akram. I can have you on.
I'd love that.
So he says, I don't have any link to join you. Yeah, usually we have it on World Crypto Network. We have a place where we post the links to the live shows, even if we're going live spontaneously. So this was on my channel, so I didn't post it in our little, private forum area. But next time I'll get you one if you want to come on, sure. And then he said, yeah, I just found the Hangout, and you're talking to yourself. Yeah, so when you guys were having difficulty, what I did is I just opened the YouTube video. I was alone for like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Just talking, and I did okay. And then so I just went back to the YouTube video and played it, and did it, and took the sound, and then I was adding on top of it. So I was talking, and then I was saying, "Oh, really? Oh, shit," and stuff like that on top of my own. So that was a good way. I have to remember to do that layering trick next time.
So he is interested in Bitcoin, and government corruption. What sort of corruption?
Yeah, that too, but more. So I think that I don't know. I would rather have him talk about it. I don't know. It's not necessarily corruption necessarily, but it's about transparency. So let's say that okay, I'm doing a project. I'm building a school. Let's say me and you are kung fu monks, right? And we're doing a project. We live in a monastery, and all we do is kung fu all day. Hey, that sounds really cool, huh? And then
Actually, sounds good.
Yeah, and we say, hey, we're doing a show. We're doing a project. We're building a school near the beach.
I think that happens a lot in Thailand, in Burma for sure. That the monks in the schools
exactly.
out in the countryside and stuff.
Right. So, and we need money to do it, and we can't work. We're monks, but we can accept donations, and we can do the work, and we can organize the work. So, to make sure that people will know that we use the funds accordingly, well, we could use Bitcoin or other cryptocurrencies, and it would be on a blockchain, which is public.
I see.
So, yeah, and not only that, another part of the technology that is quite interesting is something called multi-signature. So that means that you have an address, and you can do, for example, 2 out of 3 or 4 out of 5, etc. So you need 2 out of 3 of the people that possess the private keys of that address in order to do a transaction from that address.
Right.
So that means that not one person can run off with the funds, because that happens sometimes.
So that's sort of the
project-
opposite. That's the opposite of some people's reservations about Bitcoin. People are afraid that Bitcoin grants this anonymity that feeds as a lack of any controls over ethics of how money is spent, but actually it creates transparency because the transactions aren't hidden behind a bank.
Well, that's true. So Bitcoin alone does not offer
I see.
you to be anonymous. However, it does offer you right away to be pseudonymous. And if you do want to be or semi-anonymous, let's say, with Bitcoin, it is possible, because it depends on, it's all about linking a person with an address, because I can make as many addresses as I want. So it's kind of like if you could make as many bank account numbers as you want and you still have all control of them. So with Bitcoin, you can make a new address for every transaction. So from a legal point of view, you'd have to match the person with the address, which can be done, definitely. But there's also ways of making it really difficult for that to happen. Nothing is 100% sure, and I don't want to. And Bitcoin is not itself anonymous, definitely not. But on the other hand, if you say I want to be transparent, for that it's really easy to do.
That's right.
Yeah, you can definitely do that. I mean, there's also pitfalls with it. For example, I could say, hey. So, for example, a normal Bitcoin address starts with a 1, and a multi-signature starts with a 3. But if one person has all the keys to the multi-signature, well, what difference does it make? You see what I mean? Mm-hmm. So there still is trust and so on with some of these things. It's not, it doesn't mean that it automatically solves, but it's an example of how it could be used that is really good. Or let's just say you're starting a startup, a company, and that's a typical thing that, okay, someone has the password for the FTP server and the website. Another guy has the code for the bank, and another guy has, I don't know, the keys to the office, let's say, yeah. And then one day, one guy runs off with they get in an argument, and one says, okay, well, fuck it, I've got the website information. I'm just gonna use that for something else now, right? So at least with the funds with Bitcoin, and if it was in multi-signature, you couldn't do that, So it makes what it does is it incentivizes you to work together, because you need at least 2 of 3. So there's an incentive. Otherwise, the funds don't move. So there's an incentive for at least 2 or 3 people to do something they agree on as far as the multi-signature. So that can be used for, like I said, like if we were Kung Fu monks doing something, that could be useful. Maybe that's more if we could explain to other people and they understood that, they might be more likely to help us. We'd say, hey, we're doing this. And hey, when we buy concrete or wood, we'll take a picture and we'll timestamp it, and we can hash it and put that on the blockchain too. Sounds complicated, but it's not. So we're just making a hash of a picture. Put that
It sounds really robust, because most folks are doing transactions with their bank and through their ATM card, and they don't know what a hash is. They don't know what encryption is. So this means that people will be more intimately involved in encrypting their network traffic, their interactions, and in the environment that we live in now, that just seems a lot more healthier because of the militarization of the internet.
Right. So basically, you used a really key word, robust. So that's it exactly. So there's always going to be a trade-off between central and decentral, or central and distributed networks. So a central organization or a distributed network, there's going to be trade-offs. And the trade-off is typically efficiency for being robust. So, the system with the centralization, like banks and other things, they work good. It's fast. A credit card works pretty fast, right? You just swipe it and it works, right?
But from a security standpoint, that's a big weakness.
Well, yeah, exactly. But it's fast, right? We want speed. We want efficiency, right? If you call that efficiency. You see what I mean? So, but on the other hand, Bitcoin is really robust. Okay, it's maybe, at least right now, a little bit more inconvenient in some ways, but it's way more robust. So, that's basically a trade-off. And the other thing is that you have hell of a lot more responsibility yourself with Bitcoin, whereas when you use a bank, you just basically give them, you outsource the responsibility to them. And yeah, you pay for it, indirectly or directly.
As the technologies around Bitcoin that people use to implement Bitcoin develop, like, say, for instance, the app for your phone that encrypts your transaction and hashes it so that you can so that the other person on the other side can see that it's legitimately happening when and where. Like, as that technology develops, is there a group that will oversee implementation of standards so that the various devices and technologies will work together well?
Well, the Bitcoin protocol is on GitHub, so it's open source. Bitcoin is an open source project, and there are core developers that are always working.
And GitHub's a website that helps that that people go to use open source software, participate in the development of open source software. Is that right?
Yes. So
okay.
Basically, so actually, it's even, and I'm gonna go on my boundaries a little, but so basically, Git, G-I-T, is a technology upon itself, and that is really interesting. What you can do is download a Git repository onto your computer, and it's a set of folders, and it will timestamp using hashes and Merkle trees stuff that you do, so that you can, it's kind of like a diary, but with hashes and Merkle trees, so that you could go back and say, I did this at this time, here's the proof, and there's no way I could manipulate this, because, so you're gonna, I'm not gonna sit here and explain Merkle trees off the top of my head, but
okay,
you guys can look that up.
That's a bit confusing, but yes, so spell it out, kind of.
But let me.
What is Merkle?
That's what I want to say. I want to say is that there's a number will be created, and there's no way that I could know it. So what we're gonna do. I'm gonna show you an example. What we're gonna do is we're gonna, in a way, do what we're gonna do what I'm talking about live on air in a real primitive way, but actually a real robust way at the same. Because instead of using headers and PHP, or I don't know what it has, there are a lot of ways you could do it, or Java or whatever, we're just going to do it in the video itself. We're going to timestamp it right now, live, using the Bitcoin blockchain without using any coins. It won't be on the blockchain, but we're going to use the technology in order to timestamp it. So, do you see my screen share? Yes or no? It's not working, is it? Hold on.
No. See your.
Just a second. Just a second. I'll get it. We're really good at technology here. That's why we're trying to explain it. Crap. Google, come on. This is annoying. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to what is going on in, for some reason my screen share just won't work, which is really annoying, but I'm gonna do it anyway. What am I gonna do? Crap. Alright, well, in the meantime, where was I? So Git is just another way to track what you're doing, and GitHub is a website that uses that technology, and open source technology, and basically you can look at the code and you can say, oh, well, I have a suggestion. What about this? And you just add it, and then it can be approved or not approved. And you can so-called fork a project. So you can say, oh, I like that. Well, I want to do that myself. And you just say, I'm going to fork it, and that's like a fork in the road. And you make your own version. And you could just simply copy it and put your name on it, or you could just, adjust a few parameters, and there it is. That's it. And that's what GitHub is. And that's also Bitcoin. You can also make your own coin. There's thousands of them, actually, believe it or not. So you can definitely do that. So I see that I'm sharing some kind of screen right now. Do you see it?
Yeah. Oh, it's sharing your screen from the Hangouts app.
Right. Now I'm going into Infinity. Okay. Tell me what you see now.
It's your browser window.
With some numbers and stuff, right? Right. Okay. So this is a website called blockchain.info.
It's not showing the blockchain website. It's showing the Hangouts website.
Oh shit. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to attempt this again.
Now it's your face.
Now it's my face. So here we go. Now it's right, yeah?
Let me quit Facebooking. Yes, now it's right.
Quit Facebooking. Is someone talking about the show, or are you talking to someone else?
Yeah, everybody's talking about the show. There's like 100 people chatting me up on Facebook.
Right. So check this out. This is cool. This is cool. Watch. This website is a graphic version of the blockchain I was talking about. And here are some transactions that happened. That's what I'm talking about. Public, how it's public. And what we're going to do is go here. This is the last blocks that were solved. I'm not going to explain that totally, but I'm just going to click there. Block height. And we're at block height 339256. So that's basically the last block of transactions that was solved. All right, and here we go. Block 339256. Here's the hash. Here's the block, and here's the Merkle root. And the Merkle root is 55D475088F515ARE. So even if I just read the beginning of it, now it's permanently time-stamped in all of eternity that this video happened at this exact time. There's no other way. There's no way I could fake this. That's what I want to say. Because there's no way to predict the Merkle root. And there's no way to reproduce that same Merkle root either. So that is what is really interesting. So you can use that for some stuff. And I'm going to go over to another page and see if I can show you something. Let's see here. So you need to look for something.
Right. Well, I just completely spaced. I was trying to figure out what you're doing.
Okay. Well, basically what I did. Okay. So, all right. Every 10 minutes, there's a new block of transactions that is confirmed by the Bitcoin network. Okay. And every block has a hash and a Merkle root that goes with it. And I just read out loud that one because that's proving that we did this video at this time. It's a kind of timestamp. So now I'm at another page called cryptograffiti.info, and here you can see if people have. You can also write stuff into the blockchain. It's there for all eternity. And it looks like someone has been writing some kind of hex. You see this right now?
Yeah.
This is like hex code, or I don't know. I'm going to try to zoom in.
It's not a hex,
so maybe
like a curse. It's like a hex code.
Yeah, sorry. It's basically like a hash kind of thing. So probably if I took all that and put it into the right program, it would be a picture or something. I don't know what that is. All right, so let me go down. Some people put like just funny messages. All right, wait. Of course, right when I want to show it, I don't find any funny messages, right? Well, here, look. Here's some random stuff. What is that? It looks like it. I don't know. With all those K's, looks like someone just goofing off right there.
Yeah.
You know? Okay. They had to pay for that too to put that in the blockchain. They did have to pay a little bit.
Oh wow.
Yeah. But it's there permanently forever, and it's public, and nobody can alter it. It's there forever. So then you can think about lots of ways you could use that. That is a real interest. Someone is doing some weird stuff here. Here, look. Tom, Melanie, Lauren, Karen Miller. Here's a picture. Looks like someone is hashing something, actually. So basically, what I want to say. So this looks pretty technical, right?
Right.
But some of this stuff is probably having to do. Oh, here's a copyright, and this is probably some kind of hash or header of the copyright, so that someone put in the blockchain to say, hey, say, hey, this was here at this time. Kind of like a notary, basically like a notary kind of thing. All right, so imagine. Well, this is going to get too complicated. Actually, do you have any?
Boring.
Okay, great. Well, it's really not boring to me, but okay. Ask me a question.
Did you have you keep up with that? What is the MMA website that posts the really insulting stuff about Tai Chi on Facebook all the time?
MMA Share.
Network.
Look up on Google MMA Share.
No. I'm talking specifically about a website that's like a forum that on their Facebook page they've got 100,000 followers.
Oh, Bullshido.
No, not Bullshido. It's like MMA Network, and for the past week or two, all they've done is posts about chi blasts and. But
okay, I missed that. But Bullshido has some Tai Chi stuff too.
Yeah, well, it's I don't know. I wish you had seen it. MMA Network, maybe. Anyway, they take like a video of like some weird Russian Tai Chi guy, and I can share this video with you. And he's like on his knees doing push hands with a guy who like is a boxer.
Mm-hmm.
Push me over. We've done push hands before.
Yeah.
And the boxer pushes him, and he pushes the boxer over. And I've done push hands. He's not that great, this weird Russian guy or whatever. He just like pushes the guy over. It's really simple. It's like kids play. It's not wrestling.
Yeah.
And then the boxer stands up and punches and uppercuts him from standing and knocks him out. And the MMA Network is like, see, chi doesn't work.
Yeah, that's I mean that has nothing to do with either one of them working, because you guys they created rules and one person broke the rules that you guys agreed on, so that doesn't make any sense. And
it's a lot of that.
Of course MMA. I mean, of course, a lot of people. Oh God, look, this is what I've seen. All martial arts have some merit. It's just a matter of how people train and if they test their martial art or not.
But is anybody really like teaching their students to shoot like Street Fighters, the video game style chi fireballs at their opponents?
No.
No, nobody's really. It's like a false flag.
It's a false flag. It's hyperboil to get clicks and stuff. Of course not. They're just talking about the chi-ness and the energy and all that, and because they don't get that, then they're gonna talk shit about it. Of course, it's not really like macho or like tap out shirt style, right? Tai Chi.
Right.
It's not. I'm sure a lot of professional fighters know about it and do stuff. Look at Machida. Machida is comes from more a karate background. Maybe he doesn't know Tai Chi, but you can see. What I want to say is that Machida comes from the way. When I see him fight, I always think of traditional martial arts in a way, because just his stance and the way he. Well, I guess maybe it comes from karate. He stays on the outside. He avoids people a lot, and then he does these really quick blasts, and then he's out of there. He's really elusive. Yeah. He hits really hard. He hits hard. When he hits really hard. But he doesn't overcommit or anything like that. I mean, it's probably not your style of kung fu, but he does, because it comes from this kind of karate thing. But it has nothing to do with Muay Thai, has nothing to do with boxing. You know, he has a totally different way, and the main thing that what you see with him, he's really stable and very balanced. He's like really stable. He's been taken down, but not that much, you know. And I don't think he cares about getting taken down because he kicks all the time, you know. So because sometimes that's what happens. People that are afraid of getting taken down, they don't kick, and the guy knows that they're only going to punch, and they get beat up because they're only one-dimensional. So, I mean, that doesn't mean necessarily that it could be that the other guy wins too, but what I mean is that sometimes but people like Machida with such good balance, it's really hard to take him down. He's just, and you look at his stance, it's a different, you could just look at it and you can just tell this guy is really, really stable. So I think that is that kind of similar, when I see some of the things you showed me and the other things of the Tai Chi kind of guys or the Kung Fu. People talk shit about Kung Fu all the time too, of course. They have those really good stances and really hardcore really, really good balance. And that's the same thing I've seen from other Aikido. You know, I've seen also a lot of shenanigans, I will say, in Aikido stuff, like people with
There's posters. A lot of sort of chi blasty type stuff in Aikido.
Yeah. But I have met some people, and I'm like, wow, well, damn if he's not stable. It didn't teach him something, but they are really, I can't really explain it. I don't think it's like, maybe it's the power, you know. But what it is probably is they just probably spent like days training only stance.
Right.
You know what I mean? And
they train stance a lot.
That's what they did, and they're good at that. And it sounds like bullshit because it's not striking or whatever. But I found a lot of people that are in those arts that the thing is, these people that I'm talking about are open-minded enough to try other stuff, because I've never been to an Aikido class, and I've never been to a Kung Fu class, and I've never been to a Tai Chi class. So they've obviously met me somewhere else. But all those people had very, very stable stances, and they never overcommitted, or very rarely overcommitted. So that's what they learned, and that's good. That's not wrong. All I want to say is that that has merit too. You just can't discount, and I think it has a lot more to do with your trainer, how they train, and if you test your art. What I mean is if you spar or not, or something pretty hard to just test yourself somehow. If you do all that, then you probably learn something, you know.
Right.
You can compare apples and oranges all day about what style is better or whatever, but you know.
Yeah, I think people like to have that, like, make this false dichotomy: traditional, not traditional MMA, or traditional martial arts, or whatever, and it's just ridiculous because there's just so much over and going back and forth. You don't know what someone studied, how long, when, and where. You know, there's plenty of guys in MMA who have done some sort of traditional martial arts or even Chinese martial arts at some point.
Yep.
But you know, if you fight MMA, then you train MMA.
Right.
You know,
so I think that
conditions.
I totally agree, and some guys in MMA really showed that, hey, you have to look for the traditional stuff too. I mean, I guess it's kind of, in a way, okay, I would say Anderson Silva, yeah, okay, he has this definitely MMA style, and he's really good at boxing, but what I want to say is when he, oh, damn it, who was he fighting? He knocked a guy out in the first round with a very straight kick to the face. I mean, just like
Right.
direct.
Like
It's
a Wing
not.
Chun.
Yeah, it's a totally traditional style kick. It's just like directly to your chin and straight up.
Yep.
No turning hip stuff like this, like typical Muay Thai. Not a head kick. No. He just like went right up the middle and then
Now, I've
boom.
thrown one of those in sparring before, and you can get it off if it's the right timing and the guy doesn't know where it's coming, and you just happen to be like, oh God, I'm too close to him, and throw it straight up. If you've got the flexibility, you can
Right.
catch somebody in the chin with it before they know it's up there, and they're not going to take you down because you just kicked them in the chin. But I think the percentages are really sketchy throwing a kick like that.
Right, but basically this is what happened. So before that, you never saw anyone attempt it. But
Right.
he showed that it's possible, and all of a sudden, all these people are trying to do that. They're like training that now. But in my opinion, that's a real typical. That's more of a traditional style, right up the center, this kind of straight kick, and not that kind of like in MMA. I mean, why? What is MMA? MMA is mixed martial arts. All comes from traditional martial arts anyway. It
Right.
all comes from traditional anyway. And well, what makes up MMA is what works. To be
Right,
honest,
right.
or what works in the
What works
octagon.
in the octagon? Yeah.
Yeah, right. And that's what is shown through. Leg kicks. That's Muay Thai. It's power leg kick. Same thing with the head kick, right? Boxing. So Muay Thai, boxing, jiu-jitsu, grappling. That's it. Those are the basic disciplines. And those are the basic ones you have to know. But all of those have traditional backgrounds. It's not like Muay Thai is a modern. Yeah, it's kind of modern for Thailand, but it comes from traditional martial arts. Same thing with grappling and all that.
And traditional doesn't mean that it was around 1,000 years ago. People have their fables that they tell around their martial arts, but if you really look into it from like anthropologically, a lot of what people practice is not 20, 30 years old.
No,
even
definitely.
the traditional modern arts, And
Right.
I just think it bothers me. There's a lot of people in certain quarters that are talking about chi, and if you practice Tai Chi, then you can't do MMA, like they're mutually exclusive, and it seems racist to me it. Granted, Westerners studying Tai Chi has a colonialist aspect to it, or sort of like it's a little bit, when you start talking about racism, it's a little bit dicey when you start interpreting a culture and co-opting it, or whatever that language is that you would use to describe that. But just saying because someone believes in Eastern like medicine or chi or whatever, all of which I don't really understand, is you can throw them out with the bathwater. It seems racist to me.
Yeah, I don't know if I would use racist, but whatever. I see what you mean. It's just about what I think it's just anyone that does that is somehow insecure. I just don't get it. I just don't get it. Something about them is insecure. Why do I have to say that my art, it's an art. It's just like we were talking, this is not any different than what we were talking about earlier. You're talking about Fluxus and all that stuff. It's not a lot different. It's an art just like any other art. It's martial. It's about hurting people in the end, or defending yourself or whatever you want to call it, but it's still an art. And that's what all these factions are. It's the same like music and the visual arts and all that shit. You got the same crap going on. Oh no, that's not real. That's just, I got this, or it's got to be tough, or I'm gonna open my McDojo, so I've got to do really tough MMA now because that's really in style. And then maybe 10 years ago it was Taekwondo, and 10 years before that it was Karate Kid. So I got to do karate, and it's just bullshit. That's not really the real deal. What the real
ego.
This is what it is. That's why I like Dog Brothers, because Because Crafty Dog, he said, see it taught, see it fought. He says he's open to new stuff, and then test it out and see if it really works.
Right.
You know, yeah, and then that's okay. That's great. That's the whole idea. But he's not going to teach like some, I don't know what, thing that has no relevance. Yeah, no, he's not going to do that. That's not it. And it's not about being dogmatic. It's about what is useful, see it taught, see it fought. I mean, so I think what was interesting what they were doing, because in the Filipino martial arts scene there was even more bullshit because it's weapons involved, and people are like, oh, that's deadly, you can't test it, even more of that shit. You see that stuff with the Tai Chi stuff too, like, oh, I have the deadly strike or you know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, and they're like, oh no, you can't test it. It's I would kill someone. Well, yeah, sure, anyone could do that if they're idiots and don't know when to stop. I mean, of course, you could hit someone wrong theoretically, but I mean, come on, you've got to test your technique.
Sifu Chin had apparently a lot of experiences with this sort of things with kung fu people in the 80s and 90s, 70s even, saying, I can't fight you, I'll hurt you. And,
That's just like
there's lots of good stories about fighting those people after they said that, or fighting their best.
That's just what the Gracie's brothers did. The Gracie's brothers said, okay, let's test this shit. We have, jiu-jitsu, our style. I don't even know if they called it Brazilian jiu-jitsu then. I'm not an expert, but we trained our jiu-jitsu, actually, which does have a kind of traditional background. It's like some guy from Japan that did judo, or I don't remember what the original roots are, but it has the real traditional roots from Japan originally. Anyway, yeah, they just went around to dojos and were like challenging people, especially people. Especially people like what you're talking about that say, oh, I'm too powerful, or I'm the best, or I'm the black belt, 5 billion degree.
Beat them up in front of their students and close their school down.
Yeah, well, let's just test this. Then fine. That's okay. You're deadly. I'm ready. Let's do it. And it's not like ego. It's like, I want to test my stuff. I want to test it.
Art has to be tested.
Exactly. That's it. We can talk about theoretical painting all day. Is that interesting? No. Let's paint something. See how it affects people. That's more. Let's or your social thing. That's why I like the social art thing. 'Cause you're really like, you can't hide. It's just there. It's happening now. That's it. It's real. It's more genuine than a lot of other things. It doesn't mean that it will work exactly good or be successful or whatever. I don't know, parameter is what you mean, but I think that that's good. Okay, let's stop the live broadcast for today. We had a long one. I hope everybody that was watching enjoyed it. Beers?
How many viewers we have now?
I don't know. We didn't have very many when we were talking. It didn't say.
Goodbye, however many viewers we have. Goodbye. Thank you for watching.
All right.